with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located in Oregon in the US. And let's see. There we go. I think that's pretty good. So let's go ahead and see who's on. I'm still trying to recover from this cold. And let's go ahead and see who pops in. Hello, Tracy. Thank you for being here. I think I finally figured out that until somebody pops their comment in the chat, the live chat doesn't show for me. So it's always nice when somebody's on right away. So thank you so much for being that person for me. All right. I'm going to give everybody just a minute or two to jump on, and then we'll get started. Tonight we're going to be making a 3D project, and we'll be using elements of text. This is an online exclusive, Cutest Cows. This is in the annual catalog, the 2024 to 2025 annual catalog. It's a carryover from last year, so it's kind of obscure in there. And then it also has a coordinating punch, the Cutest Cows Builder Punch. These are no longer offered as a bundle, but of course you will want both pieces, I think. And then we have the Mixed Labels bundle. This is also an online exclusive. So you get these sentiments and a nice banner, one little flower image, but the dies are really where it's at. So we're going to be using this little die tonight, and then this little die made a perfect fence for me. So we're going to be using those two pieces from here. I won't be using any of the stamps, just those dies. But I did want to show you that that's available as a bundle because, as always, when you purchase a bundle, you save 10% over the individual piece prices. Hello, Cynthia. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. All right, so it's about 7:02. I'm going to go ahead and jump in and get going on this 3D project that I hope you will like tonight. I revamped it a little bit because originally I was going to use the Perfect Pairs stamp set, which is this one in case you didn't know, but it retired and discontinued, so you can't get it. So we're not using it because I don't like to show you things you can't get. So anyway, let's go ahead. Let's get started with our box. Let's get that done first. So we need a piece of Calypso Coral cardstock. And this piece is 8 by 7.5. So there's not much difference. So this is the 8-inch side. This is the 7-inch side. Let's bring in our scoring tool. This is Stampin' Up! Simply Scored. I love this tool. It's the best way that, in my opinion, to score your cardstock because you can firmly push your paper up in the corner here and you don't have to keep moving it to meet the measurements. And so you're assured of some accurate measurements. So on the 8-inch side, we're going to score this at 3/4 of an inch, 4 3/4, and at 5.5. Okay, so again, 3/4, 4 3/4, 5.5. Then we're going to rotate this to the 7.5-inch side, and we're going to score this at 1/2 inch, then at 1 1/4, 4 inches, and 4 3/4. Okay, and again, those measurements are 1/2, 1 1/4, 4 and 4 3/4 inches. And that is our scoring all finished. So we're going to go ahead and fold and burnish on all of these score lines. I like to go in both directions so that I make sure that my paper stretches both ways, not just one, and I will get a more, a straighter scoring from that. So here we go. Just run my bone folder on all of those lines. Okay. Now we've got that done. Let's go ahead and bring in our trimmer, or sorry, let's bring in our paper snips, and then let's bring in our template. This is what we want our finished cardstock to look like. So this side here, this piece that has the 1/2 inch and the 3/4 inch, this is going to be the side of our box. This piece here with these two scores, this is the top of our box, and then this is the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and cut on the large rectangles straight up on the bottom here, and then I'm going to angle cut both of those, both sides of the square tab and trim that off, miter that, and then I'm going to come over here on the large rectangle and cut straight. I'm going to cut straight on this side. Then I'm going to angle cut these two. All right. And then this is my glue tab. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to angle cut onto this side and trim that piece off. Okay. And then I'm going to come on this, the other end of the rectangle, and I'm going to angle cut there. And then I'm going to cut all the way up this score line until I meet that angle cut I just made, and cut off these two sections. Okay, so I've got that off. Now here, this is going to be our glue tab, and this is going to be a glue tab. And they need to come from this direction. So I'm going to go ahead and cut straight up here. Okay. And then I'm going to cut straight up on this side. Clear down to that second score line. Okay. And I'm going to fold this down. And then I'm going to cut off this large section, which is going to leave me with my glue, or my tab, my side tab. And then I'm going to fold this in, and I'm going to cut off this square and this long rectangle here. So I'm just going to take that in there, cut that right along the score line. I want to cut this score off. Okay, so I've removed that piece. And this is what I have left. And then I'm going to cut straight up on this score line all the way to the second score line again. I'm going to fold that down so that I remember not to cut it off. And then I'm going to cut this off right at the score line. Okay, so remove that. Then I'm going to miter these edges. Oops. Need to do a better job of mitering that because you need to remove the entire score line there. Okay, so now our piece looks like our template, except for this is a little bit longer on my template because I changed my measurements just a little bit and I didn't cut that off. But that's fine because we don't need this long of a glue tab, and that's why I altered the measurements. Okay, so now what we need to do is I like to have rounded corners. So I'm going to bring in a corner rounder. Any corner rounder that you have will do. And I'm going to round those two corners because this is our fold over flap. Okay. And now our template or our box looks like our template. Okay. So we can go ahead and pull that template out of the picture, but it's there just in case you want to take a screenshot real quick. So we'll move that out of the way because we're done with it. And then we're going to add some designer series paper to our box before we put it together. I find it's easier to glue the designer series paper on when it's flat. So that's what we're going to do first. So let's go ahead. I've got some designer series paper here. And this designer series paper is from the Timeless Plaid. I don't know why I always want to call it Forever Plaid, but I do. It's Timeless Plaid. And you get 48 sheets of all of these designs. Okay. It is a very nice pack of paper and good for masculine cards or whatever you would like. Okay, so the first piece that we're going to put on, this is actually the front of our box. Let me go ahead and show you our box. This is what we're making. It has a belly band. You wouldn't have to do a belly band. You could use a Velcro dot or a magnet here, or you could tie a piece of ribbon. But this is what our box looks like. So these are those tabs that I was telling you about. And then this is just going to fold over, and our belly band will just slide right back on there to hold that box closed. Okay? So we're going to start with a piece of the Timeless Plaid that is 2 5/8 by 3 7/8 because our finished box size is 2 3/4 by 4 inches by 3/4. So we're going to go ahead and add our designer series paper to the front of our box. And I made my designer series paper with a very thin 1/16 inch border all the way around. Okay. Then you need two pieces that are 5/8 by 3 7/8. So I'm using the same pattern. You could switch up your patterns if you choose. So I'm going to put these, this is going to go for the sides of our box. So I'm just going to place these down in here. Try and line that up. For some reason, I'm going further to the right than the left. Okay, so we've got our side pieces now. The liquid glue, I have just a little bit of time to slip that right into place. And then the final piece of DSP that I'm using is going to go right here, which will be the very top of our box. Not putting designer series paper on the back. You could if you wanted. You could also put designer series paper on this flap if you desire, and I'll show you what that looks like if you do that, because I did my first box that way, but I used a different, actually I think I have one with the same paper and then one with a different paper, but we'll take a look. Okay, so now we have this. It's ready to go. Let's go ahead and put our box together. The plaid isn't available right now. Oh, so it's on stop sale. Thanks, Tracy. So March 3rd, which really isn't that far down the road. That's just a little over a week away. So, and you always want to keep check on that because that's an estimated date. So it could either come in earlier or come in later, depending on what Stampin' Up! Gets for the estimated date of arrival. Okay, so I've got that on this piece. Now remember, this is the front of our box. So I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to put some tear and tape here. All right. And then because of how I like to fold my boxes in, I'm going to go ahead and put some tear and tape here and here. Okay, and you'll see, if you don't know what I'm doing, you'll see why in a minute I did it that way. Okay, I'm just going to burnish my tear and tape down. Make sure that that sticks really well to the paper. All right, and then we'll take our take your pick tool, pull off the backing. We'll roll that up because I've got just a little bit of an angle on that edge. Then I'm going to fold here on the second score line from the left and on the first score line from the right on this side. Line up those cut edges and the scoring line, and then I'll give that a good burnish. All right, so now we have our box like this. Now we're going to take and fold in the back large long flap first. And I'm going to remove my paper here. Okay, so fold the back in first, then the sides, and then the front flap over the whole bottom. Square that all up and give it a press. And now what I have is a nice smooth bottom on the outside, but I also have a nice smooth bottom on the inside because those side tabs are locked between the layers. And then I'm just going to give that a good bone folder burnish. And our box is complete. Now at this point, you just need to decorate. We're going to do ours with a belly band, but you could use a Velcro dot here or put a magnet here and here, and then you could close it that way. You could run a ribbon around it and tie the ribbon. That is up to you. But I chose to use a belly band. So I have a piece of basic white. This piece is 1¼ inches. Oh, you've had that plaid in and out, Tracy. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I think you should probably just jump on it and grab it. So we've got the 8 inches by 1¼ Now what I did was I took and put a little mark at 4 inches just because I have a hard time finding the center if I don't, and I want to know approximately where the center is on this. And then I'm going to go ahead and make my own designer series paper. I could have used another piece, but I wanted to make my own. So I'm going to bring in two throwaway portions of the stamps from the Hearts and Hugs. These actually are the centers from, one's from this little hamster, and one is from the seals. But they're pieces that were meant to be discarded. Stampin' Up! Puts them in there when they make it and cut it, and then they expect that you're going to throw those away. And what that does is on a line art image, then you won't get ink in there because there's no rubber. But this is still good rubber. So we're going to use that today. It's a free stamp Stampin' Up! Gave us, so we're going to use it. So we're going to grab some pecan pie. And I'm going to show you a little trick. Sometimes on a brand new piece of rubber, it's a little hard to get a good solid image when it's just a smooth piece like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stamp and I'm going to put it in a little bit of Versamark, and then I'm going to stamp that off, and without cleaning it, I'm going to ink this up. And the Versamark is going to help this ink give me a better image. Okay, so I'm just going to randomly stamp across here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this other free stamp. Ink it up in Versamark, ink it up in Pecan Pie. Let's go this way. And I'm just going to keep moving my stamp around. Okay, I think that's good. We're going to leave that like it is. And put this away. And we'll put the lid on our Versamark and set that aside because we're done with it. Okay, now we've got our belly band. Let's set that aside for a minute. I'm going to need it again. So I'm going to go back and not yet. I don't want to do that yet. So now I've got the mark. I'm going to look for my center mark here that I made. And I'm going to try and eyeball that in the center of my box here. Okay. Just about, I'm trying to, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm just going to fold this around, give that a little bit of a crease, fold this side and give it just a little bit of a crease. And then I'm going to take my bone folder, make sure that my sides of my panel all line up nicely. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay. And now I'm going to take and erase that mark so I don't forget. Okay. Then I'm going to put this back on my box like that. And then I'm going to fold my other sides around the back. And I'm going to repeat the same process that I did before. Fold that down where I have that little crease. Make sure that those edges line up correctly. And this is the easiest way to do a belly band without trying to figure out 16ths of measurements or what have you. Okay, so now this is going to fit on our box. So now I'm actually going to turn this around the other direction. And I'm going to overlap one over the other. And let's see. I'm going to do it this way. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to bring in some liquid glue. I'm going to put some liquid glue on this edge on the inside and this edge on the outside. Okay, and then when I fold these together, I want it to be taut, but not too tight that I can't slide my belly band. And then I'm just going to line up my top and my bottom. And then I'm going to give that a press. I'm going to hold it for a second while it dries. Okay. And I'm going to pull that off and give it a good little burnish. Okay. So there is our belly band ready to go. And this will just slide right back on there and hold that up. Now, I put this here on the front in the center because we're going to cover this up and you're not even going to see that. If I put it on the back, then when you turned it over, you would see that seam. And I don't want you to see the seam, so I'm going to put the seam here, and then we're going to do our decorations. So we're bringing in one of the wonkadoodle circles, or wonky circles, or they're actually called the Around It All dies, okay? But if you search in the online store for wonky circle dies or wonkadoodle circle dies, these actually will come up. But you have to make sure that you put in the word dies, okay? So let's do a little bit of stamping. We're going to bring in the head of one of our cutest cows. And if you saw my video from yesterday here on YouTube, I used the Winky cow, but this time we're going to use this little gal. And we are going to also, I'm going to go ahead and use this body again. I could use this one, but she's not, it wouldn't be facing the right way. Because we're going to use the little rooster, which I've already colored and fussy cut. You have to fussy cut him. Sorry. But there are no dies because the Cutest Cows comes with a stamp set. He's worth the fussy cut, trust me. Okay, so I'm going to put the head of the cow, and hopefully that's going to fit on here. Yep. Oh, but I didn't think about how I was going to punch that, did I? Oops. Well, I'll give you a tip on how you can punch that when you have too small of a piece. And then we're going to take our cow body, which works with the punch. That's the other reason to use it. I'm using not the right color of ink. Hang on, I didn't use the right color. You could use pecan pie and it'll be fine, but that's not what I intended to do. So let's do that again. Let's see if this is, I don't know if that cow body will fit here. We're going to find out here in a minute though. All right, so what we really want is early espresso. That's what we really want. Let's go ahead and put this little cow's head down here. And no, I did not clean my stamps between because I went from a lighter brown to a darker brown. So I'm just going to press those down, okay? And then the other stamp that you need, of course, is the rooster. But as you saw, I've already colored him and fussy cut him, so we're not going to do that. But we're going to go ahead and color this little guy. And these are the colors that we're going to be using. Although I used the Calypso Coral and the Light Cajun Craze on my rooster. So we're going to do the cow. We're going to do his hooves in the Natural Tones collection, SU 500, which is from the medium combo set. So we're going to take that and we're going to do in his tail, and then we're going to color in his hooves like so. And I got a little sloppy. So I'm going to take my color lifter and push that color back up there. Okay. And then we're going to take the dark pecan pie. Mine likes to come apart where it shouldn't. So I'm going to be careful with that. I'm just going to put in some dark here. And then I'm going to take the light. Oh, this is the one that likes to come apart where it's not supposed to. There we go. Just push it back in and try it again. If that happens to you. Okay, and then we'll color those. And then you notice I didn't put that cap on tight. I'm going to take my dark pecan pie here, and I'm just going to do a little bit here and along the edge here on the face. and here, and then around the little muzzle or whatever they call that. Okay. And then I'm going to take my light pecan pie and I'm going to fill this in like so, going over where I already went with that dark to blend those colors together. Yes, Cynthia, that cow set is incredibly cute. And this is one of those that is likely, I can't say it is, but it's likely to go in the last chance in April with the next round. So I'm going to hold on to that for just a second. Then I'm going to bring in my light crumb cake. And I'm going to put a little bit in the ears here. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit at the top of the head there and a little bit along here of the light crumb cake. And then I'm going to go back and finish those ears with my light pecan pie. Okay, when I looked at what a brown spotted cow looked like on the internet, this is kind of, sort of, what he looked like. So now we're going to take the light SU900. This is from the Natural Tones collection. The light combo and SU900 is the number that's in that combo that I'm using. It comes with 900 and 1000. So I'm going to color in the muzzle here with the SU900, and then I wanted a little bit of differentiation between the inside of the nostrils and the muzzle, so I'm just using the dark petal pink, but you could use both if you wish. Okay, so these are ready to go. This is ready to go. Let's move our blends out of the way because we're done with those. Now we need to prepare our wonky doodle circle. Oh my gosh, Tracy, I'll bet your granddaughter is going to love her birthday card with that. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to do a little bit of ink blending here. You guys know I love, if you're going to put in kind of a scenery, then I have to add a little bit of color so that it's not just a plain blank white circle or background. So I'm going to take the Azure Afternoon. This is how I want my circle to sit. And by the way, this Wonkadoodle circle from the Around It All dies is the 5th from the smallest. There are 12 of these dies, and this is the 5th from the center. Okay, just so you know. Now this is how I want it to sit. So I want my sky up here. So I'm actually going to turn this like this because it's easier for me. Put some blue on my brush here. I do not want this to be smooth. I want it to look like there's variations in color like the sky would. So I'm not worried about getting that perfect. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in the Granny Apple Green. And I'm going to turn this the other direction now with the blue this way because I want my green down here on the ground. And I'm just going to wipe off some of that green because Granny Apple Green comes out pretty bright. And then we'll put that down here. Okay. So now I've got my ground and my sky. And I didn't have to put in much effort for that. So that's great. Always good. Now we're going to take our glass mat chamois. Comes with the Glass Mat Studio. I've cut mine into quarters because my friend Tracy said I could, so I did. Because it's just easier to use when it's smaller. So I've got that. Now we're going to bring in that elements of text. And I'm also going to bring in my scrap paper just because it'll make it easier for me to clean up. So we're going to take from the elements of text. This is my favorite die for the sky. Because it looks kind of like it's splotching in some clouds. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to ink it up in the Azure Afternoon, which is the same ink that we blended with. Get that nice and inky, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to put that in there because I just want a very subtle background. I don't want it to just be in your face. Okay, so that's what that looks like. This looks like there's a few clouds there. And then we're going to take our Granny Apple Green again. And there is some blades of grass in the Cutest Cows. So we're going to take that. I'm going to stamp it off. I'm going to put one down here. Stamp off. Whoa. Stamp off. And again, I did that because I don't want it to be in your face dark. It's just more subtle this way. Okay, so we're done with that, and this piece is now ready for assembly. So let's bring in our other pieces. Oh, we have one more thing to stamp. This is from the mixed label dies that I showed you earlier from this set. Okay, so this is the piece right here, and this is what it looks like when you cut it out. And then I actually cut 2 of these dies here in pecan pie, and that's what it looks like when it's cut. So when I saw that, I thought, oh, that looks kind of like a fence. So that's what we're gonna use it for. So let's bring back in our early espresso ink and the sentiment, what's moo with you. I love a good pun. Okay, and then we're just gonna stamp this right in the center of that die cut. Now, of course, you could stamp it and then cut it out and be more accurate, possibly. So this is what we're going to do. Now, we have one more thing to do to this. I'm going to bring in the pecan pie. Yeah, I'm going to bring in let's use the Calypso coral. Nah, we're going to use the pecan pie. Sorry, guys. I cannot make up my mind there. Let's grab ourselves a brown blending brush. And we'll put just a little bit here. And then I'm just going to take this along the very, very edges, just so this is not stark white. Now, when I made my original sample, I used wild wheat, but I had a piece of paper, designer series paper, that had wild wheat in it. And when I decided not to do it with that piece of designer series paper, I thought, well, I don't really have any wild wheat, so I should not bring it in because it's not going to tie in with my project. So I decided to change my mind, which of course crafty girls can do because we do what we want. That's what we do. Crafty girls do what they want. Okay. So now we have what's moo with you. And we are ready to go here. So I'm actually going to start with the what's moo is you. I'm going to take a little bit of Stampin' Seal and run that in the center of my what's moo with you. And then I'm just going to lay one of these. I cut 2 of those, what I call the fence posts, in pecan pie. That's not really centered very well. Let's try that again. Oop. That looks a little better, I think. Okay, so now we've got that, and this is now ready to go. Let's put some Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to put one on each end. Well, let's put the whole Stampin' Dimensional there, not just the backing. The backing doesn't do us much good. And then we're going to grab 2 mini dimensionals, which of course, if you don't have minis, you could cut one of the large ones in half, or you could use 2 large ones. I just didn't feel the need for that, so this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to bring back in my box, and I'm going to put my sentiment down here. I didn't get that on there very straight. There we go. Better. Put this down here, kind of center it between the flap and the bottom of the box. Okay. And then we're going to take this piece, and we're going to add our fence line. Hello, Laura. Welcome. I'm going to take our little fence line here, and I'm going to take my fine tip glue bottle with my Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm just going to put some little dots in here. This would be an excellent piece to cut out with adhesive sheet on the back of your cardstock. But do you think I thought to do that in advance? No. And not only did I not think to do it once, I didn't think to do it 3 times. I'm a little slow sometimes. Each time I went, oh, that would be a good time to do the adhesive sheets, and then each time I cut it and forgot it. Okay, so now I'm kind of dividing my line here, but really we should probably put it on straight because this is more how I want it to be. Wow, that was really not straight. This wonky circle kind of has a flat spot at the bottom, and that's kind of what I'm aiming for there. Of course, you could use it however you like. Then we're going to take our Cutest Cow Builder Punch, and I'm going to stick this piece in. Because this is small, I'm not going to waste a bunch of paper. I can just stick this in here and give that a punch. And then I'll move it over, line up the head of my cow, and give that a punch. And I have very little waste by doing that. And this piece of paper is about, let's see, about 1.25 inches. Okay, so now we have our cow pieces here, and they're going to go on here like this, but toward the bottom. And I'm going to put my cow head over here. But before I do any of that, I want to take my little rooster here, and I'm going to set him up on my fence. So to do that, I'm going to take a mini dimensional and I'm going to put it on his head. Okay. And then his tail is partially going to hang off. I just want to take and put some glue around his feet here. And then I'm going to lift this backing off. Put my little rooster guy right here on my fence. Make sure that I got to move him over a tad bit so that my dimensional, well, maybe I'm going to need to move my dimensional closer to the beak. Let's do that. It'll work easy. It'll be easier. I needed to think about that before I actually put that on. That's okay. I'll just take that off. This is how you fix your mistakes. And I'm going to stick that dimensional right at his beak there. And then I won't have to worry about it. Now I'll add just a little bit more liquid glue at his feet. Remove that backing again. And now I won't have to worry about that dimensional. I can put this up here like I want it. And hold that for just a second because I want those feet to look like they're stuck right on that fence. And now I don't have that dimensional showing on the back. Okay, so I can put my little bird right where I want it. Now we're going to take our cow here, and I'm going to put my dimensionals down toward the bottom. My cow here. But I need to make sure that I don't go too far because this part's going to stick off a little bit. Okay, so we'll do that, and then I'm going to stick a mini dimensional right here on the head, where the head's going to go, to support that. And then we'll add this back here, kind of like this. I'm not going to press that down hard in case I need to move it, because I do not want the cow's head to interfere with my rooster. So we're going to do this, and I'm going to put my dimensional for my cow head right up here. Okay. And then I'm going to put dimensional on each ear to support the ears. And then we will put his head on, and we can slide his head actually down to that dimensional if we wish to go that far. But we're going to do it just, did I not take the backing off? There we go. So there is our little scenery now. Got our rooster there, we've got our little cow, and this is now ready to add to our belly band. So I'm going to take and I'm going to put one at the top, one at the bottom, and then I'm going to grab two more, and I'm going to put those on the sides of my wonky circle in the center. Remove these backings. And then when I set my wonky circle down here, I should be fairly well supported. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and fill our box. I've got these cowtail minis. This box will hold 3 to 4 of the cowtail minis. One serving is 3, so that's what I'm going to put in my box. If you want to really pack them, you can get 4. So I'm just going to put my little cowtails in here. I get these at the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to stick those in there like so. Fold this down a little bit because it's a little sticky outy. We don't like that. Then we'll fold that up. Add our belly band. And there is our treat box for this evening. So I hope you enjoyed that. I sure had fun making them, and I loved playing with those Cutest Cows. That was one of my favorite bundles when it came out, and I still love it. So I wanted to use it again. So anyway, if you liked this video, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. Hit the notification bell so you know every time I post a video, whether it be live or recorded, and go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. Oh, thank you. Thank you, ladies. I am so happy that you like that. I really, really like it. And I know that Abigail is going to be thrilled to death because she loves the little cowtails. I had strawberry ones, and I was going to do this in a strawberry kind of thing, but Abigail used all of the strawberry ones that I had for Valentine's Day for her Valentine treats for her classroom. So no strawberry smoothie ones left. So we're using the caramel ones, and you can get those at the Dollar Tree and make your own little cute cow box. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate you so much. I will be back on Tuesday night on Facebook at 7 p.m. with some more projects. I don't know what I'm using for next week yet, but it'll be fun, whatever it is. All right, everybody. Take care. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Good night.